Hey, everybody. My name is Leah Pearson, and I am here to welcome you to our Thursday night book club. We are wrapping up the last two chapters of Born to Win, so chapters 12 and 13. And great end to the book. Jamie and I were talking right before you guys were hopping on. There's a lot of really good content like after the last chapter too, so make sure you take a look at that. But let's go over just chapters 12 and 13 here. Chapter 12, I wanted to just kind of briefly talk. A lot of it was about like being a positive thinker. And hopefully you all are reading this book and have read it. So rather than me just like pulling out nuggets, I thought, and hopefully I don't lose my voice here, that I would just give some applications that I was thinking about in regards to how to remain positive and choose positive thinking in your business. And like he said on page 138, I believe, how like motivation and positive thinking is not like a permanent thing. I think it's really important to make sure that you are revisiting these things often. So even if you've heard them before, like I kind of was thinking that too, like as I'm writing these down, I'm like, we've all heard these before, this is something that we talk about a lot. I still think that it's good to check yourself because like he said, these things like positive thinking are not permanent and need to be done regularly. So even if you've applied some of these things in the past, it's really easy to have things slip. And so even if you were doing positive affirmations every day, for instance, you might not be doing them right now. And you might be struggling with a season of feeling a little bit more like negative thinking. So I wanted to go through and just kind of give, like I said, a couple things that I thought would be helpful in regards to choosing positive thinking in your business. So number one, affirmations. Obviously, you probably all saw that coming. But I think the key with affirmations is making sure that you're countering whatever lies that you're believing or like mental strongholds you're struggling with, and flipping that script and making sure that you're speaking those things out. So if you're not feeling capable of developing business builders, you don't feel like you can develop a silver. I've never developed a silver before. I don't know where to start. I don't know how to do that. I don't feel like I can earn the iPad. Whatever it is, you got to flip that script and then specifically speak it out. So some examples of that could be like, I have strong duplication on my team. I'm attracting business builders who have high leadership lids, specifically speaking those things out as though they are a strength or they are going to happen. And like if you're going for rank up this month, calling yourself that rank. I think that's really, really important. And then for the next one, visualization is very similar to affirmations, but I always tell people, I feel like visualization is almost like putting skin on your affirmations. So it's making it real and it just brings your affirmations to life, and you're going to be confident in the moment if you visualize those things ahead of time. So picturing yourself in Mexico, picturing yourself on stage, picturing yourself having a successful conversation, like if you're trying to onboard a business builder, those kinds of things. So by doing affirmations and visualization, you're really just focusing on positive things and rewiring your brain, which is really cool. I also put down like journaling through podcast, coaching calls, mindset blocks, things like that. I did a live this week that talked about how a lot of times you forget maybe light bulb moments that you've had. And that can be either just your memory, or I really think that the enemy can come and he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. And so I really believe that he wants to steal any like mindset breakthroughs you've had. Maybe you've had like understanding on how you can change, apply, grow, things like that. And so the enemy can come and steal that. And I really think that he wants to do that because he doesn't want you to step forward. And then you would have to go around the mountain again if you forget like that application. So I think that journaling is really important because it helps you apply what you maybe have heard from the Lord, heard from your sponsor. And it also reminds you of maybe some big scary promises that God has spoken to you too. Lastly, I wanted to go to page 141, and he was talking about performance essentially, but number 4, I think reminded me of like the positive mindset thing. you find what you're looking for in life. So I thought that this went hand in hand with the positive thinking. So looking for evidence to justify what you're thinking, why you could succeed, why you could fail in your business. This can look like maybe having the thoughts, no one wants to buy the products, no one wants to do the business with me, why you couldn't succeed, why this is not for you, whatever. But you can train your brain to look for evidence as to why you can be successful as well. So I did a high performance coaching course with Brendon Burchard, and he talked about this. And I really loved how he shared on this, that you can find evidence for whatever you want in life. So why you can overcome, why you can rank up, why you can make it to the top, why you can recruit or earn that iPad, whatever it is. So even if you're new to this business, look at your past, like even before you started the business. Have you been successful in something else? Sports, school, as a mom, like, do you have good kids, a previous job? Everyone has been successful in something. And if your mind immediately goes to, I don't think I've really been successful in anything, you need to dig deeper and not focus on that. And if you dig, you will find evidence as to why you can be successful or you have been successful. Another one is, have you ever overcome before? Maybe you've went through hardship. Maybe you went through like physical trials like I have, or something like that, having a spouse who is an alcoholic. I just talked to a friend that overcame that, divorce, whatever that hardship is. What have you overcome in the past? That means you can overcome in your business. Have you learned something new before? Even if it was a new hobby or a new skill, or you had to learn a new job in the past, if you've done that in the past, you can also do that here. Literally write this down as evidence and then read it out. And this can be what you call an evidence statement. And so you can literally read this with your affirmations and speak it out. Right in first person, I would recommend like looking in the mirror, but talking about how you're an overcomer and why. Go through the whole thing. And then at the end of this is all evidence as to why you can be successful and be a diamond and make it to the top. So, but the whole thing with that is you have to look for that evidence and then look at that evidence as well. And then also, I think I'll just stop there because for the sake of time, for chapter 13, and then I'll just kind of open it up to you. I loved the bicycle analogy, the whole thing, but one thing that really stood out to me right away, can you without a doubt say that your business is a vehicle that will allow you to achieve your goals and take you where you want to be? Can you say that without a doubt? If not, you really need to dig into your why and also work through what he discusses in this chapter. If you need a video on developing your why, Jamie and I did one actually in Pink Power. And then there's also, I'm trying to think, I think it's Get Over Yourself talks about developing your why too. So that would be a good book recommendation for you. But I love the list of the 8 things for your life goals and like what your vision must include, because everything on there Plexus lines up with, and I think that's really cool. And as far as his illustration with the bike, like with the 8 things, and then the wheel of life and character as the seat, persistent consistency, those are all things that we talk about. And that just makes me think like our team is a strong bike and has a strong model for like, you are going to make it to the top and be successful if you are riding down the road with us. So you're in the right spot. And then if you want to dig more into that, he does have a section on like building your own bike in the back of the book. I don't know if anybody looked at that. And then the whole bike thing, I know I already mentioned High Performance Habits, but I would highly recommend getting that book, because I think that would be a great segue for chapter 13 to move into reading that book if you're looking for an additional book to read with book club, because High Performance Habits, the whole like premise of that, and I actually have it on a sticky note on my desk because this is something that just so resonated with me. High performance is succeeding beyond normal standards consistently over long term while still maintaining positive well-being and relationships. And I really felt like that's what he was talking about, like with the bike, like just having that balance and moving forward over the long haul. So wanted to open it up now. You guys, either chapter, would love to hear your thoughts.
Well, you knocked that out of the park for one. So thank you for the amazing application, Leah. When he hits on the motivation piece, I think that is beyond important, because oftentimes people ask many things. Like, at 7 years of doing this, there's like a lot of the same questions that keep coming up over and over, right? And one is people want to get into momentum, and how do you get into momentum? And another one is, revolves around motivation, and it's oftentimes why people fall off, because it's this like mystical thing of like they're just not feeling motivated or whatever in life. There's distractions in life and other things get in the way. And the fact that he brings up that motivation is not permanent, and gives that analogy with bathing, with brushing your teeth, so it's not like this magical thing you have to find in order to like, okay, I got to get myself motivated, and if I do that, then it's supposed to somehow last or whatever. It's just something we have to exercise regularly, and that some of that comes in with discipline. And there's great books on that, Atomic Habits, like things like that also speak to a lot of that. But just keeping that in mind, that it's a just daily practice that we have to do. And the fact that he mentions as well that we, you can live down to your own expectations. So if you're telling yourself you're not motivated, or you're telling yourself you're overwhelmed, or if you're struggling with XYZ, you're going to live down to those expectations just as much as if you have high expectations for yourself, you can rise to those expectations. Similarly, I think what stuck out huge was, I don't even know where it was, but I'm just remembering this off the top of my head. He connects that with your people, I believe, right? So if we're having high expectations for our, people we're working with and our business builders, then they're going to also rise to that, versus maybe if they have, excuses, or something is really hard for them, and you have a hard time kind of raising them to a higher standard. Maybe you just meet them where they're at, but you struggle to build a little bit more belief or raise them just a little bit higher. Because if you can connect to them and understand, while also helping them through it and kind of giving them a little higher bar that you can believe for them, then they might rise to that, right? So we want to raise that bar for them of belief and expectations of what they're capable of, not keep that down to their level of overwhelm or frustrations or whatever.
That's really good, James. I loved on 152, I don't know, for me it was page 152, but when he was talking about gears, and just how he connected that to what is a gear in our lives right now, in our business, and that's your support, and how you need that support to go faster, and when the going gets tough, right, to climb those hills. And so what is a gear? And it's that, online learning, coaching, seminars. This book club is a gear for our bicycle, you guys, for our ride, and it's going to keep you going. So just the importance of that, just keep tuning in. And he says here, in my experience, nothing keeps your bike moving forward on a daily basis better than listening to personal and professional development audio programs every day. How many of you do that every day? Just curious. Yeah, that's good. And I want to put a plug in for Brittany's podcast, and I know some of you are listening to it. It's just gold. And so yeah, just keep reading these books and jumping on book club. And what do you sharpen a gear? What do you do? What's a gear, Mike? A gear? No, it's like a shift, right? You shift it. Yeah, you got to keep the teeth sharp. Right. Okay. Yeah. They mesh with other gears to make it move. See, I just should have asked him to jump on tonight. Oh no, that's good stuff. I love analogies like that. I can really relate. So
I don't know if you sharpen it though.
I agree. You don't sharpen it. I
Grease it.
agree.
Grease it.
Yes, yes. Grease your gear. There you go. That's
Come on, Mike. We needed you.
what? Timing? Timing. Okay, talk. Why? Come on.
We need the husband's wisdom here.
It's what? Oh, yeah. Timing is important in what you do, right? Yeah. Time it right. Thanks, babe.
Who else wants to share?
I felt like when you were talking about some applications, Leah, it reminded me of some ways that I've noticed differences in myself lately as far as like positive thinking and all of that goes. I think I shared a little bit about it before, but like things that I never would have even considered having a positive mindset towards, like sleep. Like that was not even on my radar before to even think about having a positive mindset to sleep. But it has been a game changer, so like that I think so often we talk about positive mindset, in our business and our, our family and personal lives and things like that. But it's a good idea to take kind of like that self-reflection of like different areas, maybe where I'm struggling, like, what is my mindset around it? What are you telling yourself? So for me, I was like, oh, I'm never getting enough sleep. I'm just always, you know what I mean? And like, those are the thoughts I'm telling myself. So I'm constantly going to be thinking I'm never getting enough sleep, So anyway, so that is just a simple example, but it's been very powerful. And so other things, obviously, that I've been trying to think about, like my mindset, like, as far as being a homemaker and overwhelm and things like that. Nope. Okay. I can step into this and be in control, and what's one step I can do, and what am I telling myself about it? So
That's so good. He talks about that in Miracle Morning too, Christy, about like, he says you don't need like any sleep. I don't believe him. He says you can live off of like 5 hours of sleep, but he's like, it's because you think that you're going to be tired if you go to bed too late. That's just all mindset. I'm like, okay, I can get behind that, but I need more than 5 hours. Did anybody do the application like in the back? Did you look at that yet? You need 10 hours apparently. He said it takes like 10 hours to goal set. Who else? At times when you are struggling with a positive mindset, can you pinpoint what has changed in your life? For me, it would be lack of sleep is one. I get more down when I'm tired.
I wonder if it's when things get cloudy or we get jostled. So he says that on 142. I was just kind of thinking about that, and not only just having these like bouts of like positivity, but having it so much to your core that when you are shooken, is that a word? When you're jostled, when you're, when the rubber meets the road, then it spills out. Like that is the initial thing that spills out. It's, so, and then even bringing that to, it's a heart condition, and I do think that beyond that, the stronger your belief and vision becomes, and probably the stronger the more round your wheels are, right, on both spectrums, on both of your wheels, then the more solid that positivity at the core can be. Your character, everything is more balanced and aligned. And so when you do hit a pothole on your bike, it's the positivity that spills out. It's not the bad attitude and everything else that can derail you for a while and then struggle to get back on the bike kind of thing, So I feel like there's certainly the heart condition, there's the balance of the character between the two wheels that can grow that positivity so that it is there consistently, if that just made sense.
Yeah, that's good.
Hey, I'm hopping in kind of late. We were on the road. But I think that the people that I'm with have a huge deal to do with my mindset. I definitely notice that the people that I spend the majority of my time with have a huge impact and influence on that. And then with the bicycle or the wheels, I was looking at that earlier today and realized like I'm pretty well rounded, but really small. Like I feel like all the numbers are like, oh, they're all like 3 or 4. They all have a lot of room for improvement. So while they may be reasonably symmetrical, it's, it's like, what does that tell me? That there's just a lot of room for growth in all of them. So.
But it's rollable. It's moving. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to try this without my camera on. Can you hear me, Leah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have been going through a lot of different things on mindset and having not understanding or how to get through something, and just reading this book and another Bible study that I'm doing this week, or I have been doing, it has helped to understand that if we don't keep our atmosphere around us and keep reaching out to people to help us get through the mindsets and pushing through where you want to go, that your wheels are going to go flat. You're not going to be able to keep the air in them. They're not going to be able to keep moving. So just reading this and then connecting with other people that can help you is a huge breakthrough that I've had. And then reading these books and just, continuing to grow with your mindset and learning where to find your help to get, as Sue says, the gears moving and greased. So that's this book was really good, and I'm hoping y'all kind of get some of that what I got out of it, because it was really good.
That's good. Thank you for sharing. Made me think of the scripture, like, confess your sins to one another so that you will be healed. And I always think of that with like, it's really important to be open with your sponsor and share, because unbelief is a sin. Like, that's not in alignment with God's will. Like, if you're not believing what he says or his plan, that is like, that's a sin. And so if you can go to your sponsor, I obviously go up and share, like, this is the unbelief that I'm having, and I want to work through this between them. Like, and I know my sponsor prays for me. I pray for my team. That scripture says you will be healed. And you can, something else that's been coming up a lot is I've been saying, I have been praying, and I encourage my team to pray too. Lord, help my unbelief. Like if you are struggling with something, the Lord can help rewire your brain as well. So I don't remember how they said it in the book, but it's like he's your supercharge or superpower. Or I don't know. They said something about that in the last chapter. We've got time for like one more. Does anybody else have something to share? Well, you're all quiet for what a great ending that book was. Anybody else?
All right, I'll say something.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My biggest takeaway from this last chapter, and I feel like it's a lot of times I say this a lot in book clubs, so if I'm redundant, I'm sorry, but when he talks about PC and persistent consistency, that just hit home to, I really liked, let me find the actual thing because I moved from it, but when he says, sorry, one sec, where'd it go? Just do it from memory. Oh yes, that consistency means doing the things that you need to do in order to achieve success every single day. Persistency means sticking with it and doing those little extras so that every time you do it, consistency, you're getting better and better. I just thought that was really good because I think a lot of times we think of persistency as kind of the same thing as consistency, or just being like not willing to quit. But I like that he added that little bit of like, no, it's not just that you're doing it every day, but you're doing it even better, because it's really easy to get like complacent in your IPA or complacent in your, your daily tasks of like, okay, I just want to develop this habit. But in order to move faster and, have a 20 speed bike instead of a 1 speed bike, like you talked about, it's like, you have to also add in that persistency, that getting a little bit better each day. So I liked that. And, with work ethic. And then he says, I think he calls it pedaling like crazy, not just persistent consistency, but like, think of it as pedaling like crazy to get where you want to go. So you can go faster than, simply a 1 speed bike could take you. So that was one good thing for me.
That's so good. Thank you, Kristen. I think that's a great spot to wrap it up, unless somebody wants to interject really fast.
I was just gonna say on
Okay.
the top of 166, the quote that says, we help you get from where you are to where you want to be. For some reason, that just really like kind of hit home to me in a challenge of, is that how I feel about the people that I'm pursuing and working with? Like, is my heart immediately to the place of me trying to help them and really hearing them and listening to them of where they are trying to get, either in their health or their finances, and not having any sort of like, what can they do for me in my business? But like, is my heart truly like helping hear and understand what their goal is for where they want to move their health, where they want to move their finances, what they want for their family, and just taking the time to really sit and listen to that. So yeah, that was my challenge to myself, to pull out of there, to just try to keep that at the forefront more and be more focused on listening to where they're trying to get, and help be the vehicle to move them that spot, or show them the way, how it could be possible.
Mm-hmm. I think I was really good at setting goals for my people early in my business, where like I had ideas of what they should be doing, like, or what they could do. And I think there's a big difference between like asking them what their goals are, and then, like you said in the previous chapter, like breathing hope into that, and then pulling them just a little bit farther past what they think they can do. So, but yeah, it's obviously it's their business, or it's their health journey. And I think if you're doing that too, and making the focus on like what they want out of it, then they're going to take ownership in it too. rather than you just kind of taking the reins, you know? So yeah, that's really good. Anybody else? All right. Well, thank you guys. Sorry I kept like clearing my throat all night. I think we will call it good. So have a good night.